Okay, so we're going to start today on the nervous system. So I'll repeat that again for barbers. It is book Science 102, page 96. And for Cosmos, you're on chapter 3.2.
On page 79.
Page 79.
This is 102B what?
Point
what?
7? 8. Okay.
Right,
I just dropped all my papers. I need a bigger table. Okay, so let me get this screen pulled up here. I just want to make sure I have everyone before I do that real quick. Carly joined us, so I'll just add Carly on.
interesting facts. Okay.
Oh, Miss Janie's got lots of interesting.
No, I was not trying to find some. Okay. Hey, I'll be right back. Okay.
I think we're not frozen anymore. Are we still frozen?
I'm gonna make a quick phone call.
No, okay, I see people moving, so I don't think we're frozen anymore. Thought we were frozen there for a second. Okay, so have you ever sat there and felt like all of a sudden something's like poking you, just sitting there minding your own business, all of a sudden you're just like, ah, something got me. Have you ever felt like that? No, never felt like that, Junior? Never felt like you got poked by something just sitting there?
Yes, Miss Connie,
Oh, you
I have.
kidding? Oh, yeah.
Because it kind of happens, right? Once in a while. So it's almost like your nerves kind of short circuit there for a second. Your nervous system is connected to everything. Does anyone have any like fun facts about your nervous system? None? Okay, so neurology is the study of nerves. Okay, so we got our neurology being the study of nerves, and it is divided into different subsystems, or it's composed of different subsystems. So the primary components are your brain, your spinal cord, and your nerves. Those things all work together. But we have subsystems within that called our central or cerebral spinal, our peripheral, or our autonomic or sympathetic. And these are all different types of nervous systems that control different parts of our body. You ever notice that if someone has an injury, whatever area that's hurt, it's affected, like all of it. Sometimes muscle coordination, sometimes their nervous system, all of that, they work together to help us. This big long picture over here in the corner, this is a nerve cell. So those things they almost look kind of scary looking, like some kind of monster or something. I'm not quite sure about that. So the brain, right? We've got the brain. Anyone know how much a brain weighs? No? Did we know that when you put both of your hands together like this is supposed to be the size of your brain? Right? One fist is your heart, two of them together are your brain. Okay, so it says that your brain weighs between 45 to 49 ounces. I know that's on here, right? Or 48 to 44, 44 to 48 ounces. This book says 45 to 49 ounces. So somewhere around in there. So just to kind of give you an idea of what size or how much your brain weighs, this bottle right here is 20 ounces. So two of these, maybe even 2.5, is your brain, how much your brain weighs. This doesn't weigh anything. right? You get a 16-ounce bottle of water, like a regular bottle of water. Those are 16.9 ounces. We need what, 3 of those to be your brain? So that's how much your brain weighs. Your brain is also part of your central nervous system. If you ever read those little handouts that come in medication, sometimes when you pick them up, it'll say that it'll affect your CNS for some types of medication. Your CNS is your central nervous system. Okay, so your brain is your command center. This is all responsible for your voluntary body actions, which means the ones that you want to move them at will. Okay. So in your brain now, you have your cerebrum. Your cerebrum is the mental activity, and it is up front in your cranium. So it's at the front of your head. You have your cerebellum, which is responsible for your muscle movement. That is in the occipital area below your cerebrum. Okay, so I always got cerebrum and cerebellum mixed up. I knew that one was for muscle movement. I knew one was for mental activity, but there's a test question that I've missed several times about which area of the brain is responsible for muscle movement. Well, I finally came up with something that helped me remember it. And it was bell. It has the word bell in it. So cerebellum has the word bell. So I always thought that you had to use your muscles to move the bell. And that's how I ended up remembering cerebrum and cerebellum, because I had to move the bell, had to use muscles to move the bell. So when the question says which part of your brain is responsible for muscle movement, then I could remember it was my cerebellum. Okay. Pons are also part of your brain. They connect other parts of your brain to your spinal cord that is below the cerebrum in the front of the cerebellum. So that connects it to your spinal cord. Your medulla oblongata. Any of you watched Waterboy before with Adam Sandler? That was a medulla oblongata, was something that came out of that movie for me anyway, made me remember it. It connects other parts of the brain to the spinal column. This is below the pons. So it's kind of like right at the base of your neck where when your spine starts, because your spinal column is there. So that's all part of your central nervous system. That is one of the subsections of your nervous system. It's your brain, right? 4 parts of your brain. It is all controlled with motor nerves, sensory nerves, all of that. Controls them. Your spinal cord that originates in the base of your brain and extends to the base of your spine holds 31 pairs of cranial nerves. Okay, 31 pairs of these things. This is why a lot of people have back pain and back problems, because these nerves get a little shot, right? It's 31 of those going down your back. I mean, that's a lot. This is why some people end up with back pain and because of the nerves and the muscles, they work together. You're ever going for a massage and like they're digging in your muscles really hard, and to me that hurts. Yeah, I think it hurts. I would rather have the soothing massage to soothe my nerves.
There's 2 ways of doing that. It's like press till the knot gets out, or you work until the tissue lets you get in there, which is softer. I like that one too, because it'll let you get into the muscle.
Well, I think it soothes your nerves. I just think it makes your nerves feel better. I think a lot of the pain that I have is nerve pain. I don't think it's muscle pain.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, a pulled muscle feels a lot different, but you don't know if you pulled a nerve. But sometimes my neck, it just hurts so bad. I just think it's nerves and stress. I don't think it's muscles. I don't think I have knots in my muscles.
Stress does everything to our body, tears it up. And it's your first sign of you need to take a rest. It literally is. Have you gotten to these yet?
I did those. I'm right here.
Oh, you did these?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to give you a way to remember those.
All of them?
No, just the 2 that they need to know.
Oh, I already told them that one.
Oh, to do the bell?
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at you. You remember, huh?
No, I figured it out.
Oh,
okay.
I go, you run under the bell. It takes a muscle to move the bell.
I know. I figured that out on my own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good girl.
Go ahead.
Oh, where are we? Peripheral? Okay, these are composed of sensory and motor nerves extending from the brain and spinal cord to other parts of the body. They have a nucleus, a cytoplasm, and a membrane. They differ in appearance due to the thread-like fibers that are called axons that extend from cells. They contain nerve terminals or synapses. They're located at the end of the axons, and they send messages as impulses.
That's where we get our short circuits. That's where we're just sitting there and all of a sudden something starts poking us. These thread-like appearances or our fibers, our axons, they're sending messages out. So the dendrite
Fire
receives
here.
them, right? The dendrites receive the messages, the axons send them out. If that other dendrite isn't lined up with your axon, that's where you're gonna get that
Yeah.
little, something's
Short.
poking me.
Did I get this wrong? Wait a minute.
No,
Okay,
there you go.
it's all right. So it is.
So we're the
it's a whole page,
dendrites. Yeah.
Okay.
The dendrites.
All right, so the type of nerves we have: sensory, which is also known as afferent; motor, which is efferent; and we have mix. So sensory carry messages to the brain and spinal cord and determine our sense of smell, sight, touch, hearing, and taste, your 5 senses. Your motor carry messages from the brain to the muscle. So they receive the messages from the brain and cause the muscles to contract or expand. And then some of them are mixed, and they perform both sensory and motor functions. Now, the way to remember the sensory and motor is that because of the sight and taste and touch and smell and all that stuff, okay? A comes before E in the alphabet, first of all, but you have to sense something before you can move it. So if I put my hand over a hot stove, I sense it, but my motor nerve made me move it.
And that's a reflex.
Yep.
And that's called a reflex.
There you go.
I know that that's on the test too.
Yep, and so is the sensory and motor nerves. Yeah, we're gonna ask you about
So
those.
remember, just like, what was the other one we were talking about with the muscles, with the striated and non-striated and voluntary, non-voluntary, the same type of thing applies for your sensory and your motor, right? Sensory is afferent, motor is efferent. So if you see those answers on a test question, if both, motor and efferent are in your answers, then your choice is going to have to be sensory or afferent, because they're not going to have two of this that meaning the same in an answer for a test question. So it's, again, you have to really pay attention to what you're reading,
And your sensory will come before your motor, hopefully.
and then you'll have a reflex.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'll let Miss Jada take all this.
Oh,
Because
these are fun.
are you kidding? After all these years, I cannot remember these.
Okay.
What the difference
The
is.
main nerves, and basically the only one they're gonna ask questions on, are the 5th, 7th, and 11th, okay? So the 5th, or trifacial nerve, is the largest cranial nerve, okay? It's a mixed nerve, they're not gonna ask that. They will ask that it transmits facial sensations to the brain, it controls the muscle movements of chewing, and it divides into 3 main branches. So it's gonna come right here. What you need to know is the 5th is also known as the trifacial or trigeminal, and that's not on there, but trigeminal is the other word for trifacial. It's the largest because it's 3 nerves together. Okay, go back to the next one. There's your trifacial nerve, 1, 2, and 3, yellow, pink, and green. Okay. This is your ophthalmic. This has to do with your eyes.
Your eye, it's a branch.
Yeah. Maxillary, where do you think that one's at? Right near the upper jaw.
Your maxillary bone.
Mhm. Okay, and then the mandibular, which is around the jawline.
Lower jaw's mandible. So they all go together.
Mhm. Okay, all right. That ophthalmic is a nerve branch to the top 1/3 of the face. So it divides into the suborbital, which is your eyes, the subtrochlear, I think that's tongue, and nasal is your nasal.
Your nose.
Yeah, there you go. Maxillary is the nerve branch to the middle 1/3 of the face, and this divides into the zygomatic, which is your cheek, and infraorbital, again, right here on the bottom part
Under
of
your eyes.
Okay, mandibular, the nerve branch to the bottom 1/3 of the face, divides into auriculotemporal, which is audio. Okay, so the
Ears.
temporal, the ear, and then the mental, which is the chin.
So there's a test question that says the mandibular branch goes from the tip of the chin to where? And I always went down, and I was always saying like the neck, but that's not the answer. It's from the tip of the chin to the ear. And that was I missed that question too.
Well, if you go back, look at right here. This is what they're talking about right here.
But I didn't pay no attention to that. That's why I missed the question.
Well, that's why that illustration means like it is right there. So it's not bad.
I missed that question a few times too.
They're really going to be asking about the trifacial nerve, okay, trigeminal. Is it the largest? Is it the main? These are the questions. So your next one is going to be the seventh, or the facial nerve. And this one is the primary motor nerve of the face, okay? So that's that definition of it right there, primary motor nerve. So where do we go when we're doing a facial and you get lost in what you're supposed to do? Where do you go? The temples, right? So that you can massage that area so that you could kind of think, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be at now. And then you go back to where you're supposed to work. So this one emerges from the brain at the lower part of the ear. It has 6 branches of particular importance. The posterior auricular, which extends to the muscles behind and below the ear.
Right, because posterior means behind,
And AU is the
and
audio.
auricular is audio, yeah, so for that's your ear.
Temporal extends to the muscles of the temple, side, forehead, eyebrow, eyelid, and upper cheek.
So temples, round to the front.
Zygomatic, which is your cheeks. Okay, the buccal, it extends to the muscles of the mouth. Remember, blowing.
3 below.
Marginal mandibular extends to the muscles of the chin and lower, I think it's lower mouth. And then the cervical, which is the neck.
Oh, that felt good.
So they're going to ask you the 7th and the 5th and the 11th.
And they also want to know which one's motor, which one's sensory.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff I can't ever see.
Well, if you remember that the facial nerve is the primary motor nerve, that's how you can get that one right off the bat. Because that's its definition, is primary motor nerve. Okay? I just think of, you get lost, that's where you go. The next one is going to be the 11th. Okay?
No.
No, this is still the facial nerve. Other cervical nerves include greater occipital, back of the head, lower occipital, back of the head still, greater auricular, extends to the side of the neck, to the end of the ear. I'm trying to plan on it.
So I see your finger in my ear.
All right. And then the cervical, again, extends into the side in front of the neck to the breastbone. So that's right here.
It's not right here.
Right here. I'm not going to touch your breastbone.
No, please don't. So the 11th one isn't on there, but we need to know about
Yeah,
it.
you do. The 11th one is your accessory. So I always say our jewelry is an accessory, right? That's what it's called. It's around
Just
the neck.
remember those questions, just asking you where the accessory nerve, or what the 11th nerve was called and where it's at. And so it's accessory on your neck. Yeah.
And I just remember because we wear accessories around our neck. All right, we have arm and hand nerves. So the 4 primary nerves are mixed nerves going in.
Yeah.
The radial, which extends down the thumb side of the arm to the back of the hand.
Same thing where your radial bone's at.
Hitchhiking. And then your medium extends from the mid forearm. Yeah, you're gonna have to move it over a little bit. There we go, into the hand.
And then, yeah, that's the medium. That's kind of easy to remember, right? Even though that's not a bone, like the radial's a bone, but the medium's not. But the middle, I mean, we know where the middle's at on stuff, right?
Yep. And then the ulnar. And this one extends down the,
It's the pinky side.
yeah, there you go.
So the radial and the ulnar go with the bones. I mean, they're basically
The same
exactly
name,
the same
yeah.
name, right? You just like your radius and your ulnar, but same thing. It's a bone. It goes with the bones, but the medium's just the middle. So that's what we have to remember. Okay.
And digital goes with digits.
Yeah, on your hands,
On your fingers.
fingers and hands. Yeah. Your digits. Okay. So now we go to the feet and the legs. So this one, yeah,
You pronounce that one.
this one gets me all the time. Deep. How's that? I got deep.
Perianal.
Perennial?
Yeah, maybe.
Peroneal?
Let's see.
Peroneal?
Perineal.
Peroneal.
Perineal, that's it. That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Okay.
Perineal.
Okay. Superficial.
Perineal.
Okay. Dorsal.
That's
I was thinking like
superficial nerve.
dorsal fin, like on a shark or something,
So
right?
your feet are fins now.
Cephenius.
Okay. Begins in the thigh. And the sural. Runs down the back of the leg to the outside of the foot and the little toe. What that is?
So the Cephenius vein, this is the one that I had removed.
like twice.
down here, down in here. Yeah, they also said that that's like one of the ones that they take out if they need it for something, you know, to add into your heart or whatever. They pull the
Oh,
veins
wow.
out of your legs. Yeah, that's what they told me.
You just don't work very well. You better not use it for your heart.
I don't even have any more. Check it out.
Okay.
Okay, what's on this side? Are these the same thing?
That we just talked about, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
so,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Okay. And that one runs in the back. All right. Nerves and massage. Nerves of the face, head, and neck may be stimulated during facials and/or scalp massage to stimulate sensitive nerve tissues, to relax tight muscles, and to soothe fatigued muscles.
I like the soothing.
And the autonomic or sympathetic nervous system is responsible for all involuntary body functions. It operates our respiratory, digestive, circulatory, excretory, endocrine, reproductive systems. Let's see if anybody remembers. What's your endocrine system? Anybody
Nobody
remember?
remembers that ever.
No, that's your hormones. How about the excretory?
That one should be easy.
Yeah, that's the things that come out.
It's
Exit.
exiting. It's
Exit.
exiting. So the way that I always remember this one was that it was stuff. It took care of things that were automatic. So if you look at what it operates, like your respiratory, digestive, circulatory, all of that, it's all automatic. You can't control it. So
If we did, we wouldn't have been pregnant.
I'd love to
Control it.
control certain digestive issues.
Yeah, right. Would be nice. All right. So you go for this one.
Oh, so the digestive system,
Mm-hmm.
it enters your mouth and it comes
Oh,
out.
God. Okay, Miss Connie. Okay, I have to tell you this little story. All right, in your study guide, all of them, I think it
But
basically
let's
asked,
back up about 20 years.
Okay, it asked for the path of digestion.
I was, wait, you gotta give the backstory on that. When Miss Junie first started teaching aesthetics, and we're talking 1996, okay?
A while ago.
I was her very first student in her very first class, okay? So I come in for aesthetics. Miss Janie. We're going through anatomy. We get to the digestive system. In my workbook, there was a page
And
that I
you had
had to
4 lines.
write out the workbook, the path that the food took going through the digestive system. Well, I looked at that and went, okay, mind you, I'd already had my Cosmo license for like 10 years prior to that, right? So I looked at that and I went, no. In through your mouth, out through your anus. No, I put anus. I said in through your mouth and out through your anus. Well,
I caught it on that in class.
she hands me the book back and she says, what is this? And I go, what? You know? And she says, what did you write? And I went, oh,
I didn't think you read it.
I was totally busted. I didn't think she read it. She goes, I read it. I go, oh, okay. So then I had to rewrite it. So I can tell you how your digestive system works now because of this woman right here. She made me write down every single one of those things that it does. That's why I got protalysis or protalysis. I know what that word means. So what happens? You put the spoon in your mouth, right? Start chewing it. As soon as it enters your mouth, your saliva carries these enzymes and they break down the food. So it breaks down all this food, starts breaking it down into simple, what's the word? Simple, smaller particles, that type of thing. So you swallow it. Once you swallow it, it goes down your pharynx and it goes into your esophageal tube. This is why a lot of people have like acid reflux, because once it hits there, it hits into your gallbladder, which like filters it out. So once your gallbladder's there, you can get a lot of esophageal reflux, because if you're eating some of the foods that are higher or producing more acids in your body, your gallbladder can't filter that out enough. And then sometimes you have to have your gallbladder out if you get stones. Yeah. Okay, so once it goes through your gallbladder, it hits your stomach and it goes into this twisting and turning type of motion called peristalsis. Okay. And that's what the twisting of your stomach is called. So when you hear your stomach making all these crazy noises, that's what's going on in there. It's twisting and turning, getting rid of the food that was in there, or it's twisting and turning because it doesn't have any food to get rid of because the acids are like building up in there. Okay, so it's all broken down once it hits your stomach with all these enzymes and hydrochloric acids. Now, your stomach then passes into the top of your small intestines, which is called the duodenum. There you go. And that is usually where all of the stuff breaks down. Like if you take an aspirin or you take a Tylenol or something, that's where that's going to start to break down into that area. So you have to wait for it. This is why it takes so long to make your headache go away, because you have to wait for it to break down and open up into your duodenum. Once it hits there, it's the top of your small intestines. Then all these little other parts of your body take over, and it starts passing out nutrients and dividing it up into waste products and moving it all around where, going to the areas of your body that the nutrients need to go. But when it can't digest, or when it's already taken all of the nutrients out of it, then it goes into your large intestines. Once it hits your large intestines, it's ready to be, moved out again and come out. So the whole digestive process takes about 9 hours. But the reason that we are
relaxation.
but the reason that we get hungry after about 4 to 5 hours is because your stomach becomes empty, right? So once it passes through your stomach, then you can, be more hungry. So, building up,
like pass very quickly, and some of them, like meat. Beef actually takes a lot longer to digest than
protein takes longer to digest than anything else. This is why protein makes you feel full longer, because it takes longer. So on an average, it takes 9 hours. But if you're eating some big heavy meal of
carbs,
pasta, it's going to make you feel a lot more bloated as it starts to go through this whole process of breaking down, because your body now has to take all the nutrients out and move all that stuff and pass it through. So, it can take a little bit longer than the 9 hours.
Especially if you're not eating healthy altogether. So.
Or if you just eat an apple, it's going to be gone in a matter of.
Because our bodies were meant to digest like fruits and vegetables, but it wasn't meant to really digest meat as a protein. Use bean milk and stuff, or milk, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. That's it of your digestive system.
That was very good. You've gotten very well. You learned that.
I told you forced it upon me. I'll never forget it. So then once it gets ready in that, the large intestines, and it's ready to be eliminated, part of that is our excretory system, as it eliminates the solid liquids and gas waste from the body. So we have these 3 organs that help get rid of that. We have our skin, our kidneys, and our liver. Why are kidneys over here? Why isn't it over here? I tell you, it's been messed up all day. So the skin, right? It's our largest organ. You ever been next to somebody who maybe ate a spicy meal the night before, or maybe even just drank too much, and you can smell it coming out of their pores? Like I've been next to people like that, and you can smell it. Well, what's it doing? It's eliminating all of that out. Our liver, what does the liver do? It does the same thing.
Converts and neutralizes the ammonia.
There you go. Turns it into urea.
Yep, which is yucky there. All right.
Which is ready to head to the kidneys to turn into urine.
It goes through the bloodstream and into the kidneys for excretion.
Yeah. And those are our 3 organs that have to do with our excretory system. Okay, we do need to know these, what they do.
So your excretory is exit. Remember that. You gotta exit the body.
Exits out. Yeah.
Okay.
Where am I going?
You're going backwards. I don't know, but you're not on. I know you're.
Why is it doing that? Okay, let's go this way.
Why don't you use that one instead?
What one?
The up and down arrow. That's what we were using before.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Aha, the respiratory system. Its primary function is the intake of oxygen and the exhalation of carbon dioxide. So breathing through the nose is a healthier option than breathing through the mouth, if you can do that. Okay, its primary organs are going to be the lungs, which process the oxygen for absorption into the blood and release the carbon dioxide. The diaphragm expands and contracts automatically, forcing air into and out of the lungs.
How many types of breathing do we have? 2.
We have 2.
We have our
lungs in our diaphragm.
No, but how do we breathe?
Oh,
No, we have our costal or coastal
Oh,
breathing, and then we have our diaphragm breathing. That's not in the book.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say,
That was in my SD book
Oh,
from 100 years ago. So with the way you're just breathing right now, where you're sitting here, you're just breathing lightly,
It's a resting.
right? So it's like a costal or a resting breathing. But then when you start doing an activity and you're breathing deep, that's coming straight from your diaphragm all the way, you know, from the bottom when you're breathing heavy. So yeah, that's one of them.
oh, the endocrine system. This one regulates and controls growth, reproduction of the body, and it's composed of our ductless glands. They they manufacture the hormones. It affects hair growth, skin conditions, and energy levels. Sign of fatigue or changes in the hair growth they may need medical attention for. So we're always telling you that those hair, skin, and nails can always be put under stress levels. You probably won't be growing it. Okay, they'll be weak hair, weak nails, all of that. All right.
Yeah, hormones have a lot to do with a lot of things.
Your adrenal glands,
Where
your hair grows,
Yeah.
and all parts of the hair, not just on your head, but on your scalp,
Your
and
attitude.
your face. Oh yeah,
your attitude. All of
that
that.
wonderful lady.
Yeah, it all does.
Okay.
So sometimes too, like after you, like say you get really sick, you know, or you have a baby and your hair is falling out.
It's going from all those hormones when you were pregnant to not having all of those hormones because now you're
right. So you
not
may need
pregnant
to
anymore.
go to the doctor and ask them to give you something, you know, for it, or even if your energy levels are low too. Yeah, anything that makes you feel normal for more than like, or abnormal, let's say, for more than what, a week, I would, you know, see what a doctor has to say about it for sure.
So these ductless glands, they secrete internally, okay, as opposed to your ductless or your duct glands, which secrete outside. Your outside ducts are going to be your sebaceous and your sudoriferous glands because they secrete outside of our body. Reproductive. This is responsible for the process by which a living organism procreates others of its kind.
I think we should all know how that works by now.
Okay.
I would hope.
Yeah, it's your estrogen and testosterone.
I would hope we know how to procreate.
Yeah, that's another class. All right, then we have our integumentary system, and it's composed of the skin and its layers. So here we go back to the two primary glands, which are your sebaceous or oil glands, or your sudoriferous or sweat glands. These are known as your duct glands.
That is a test question too, about what are duct glands, and those are the two you pick.
Okay, so now we can go back to our circulatory, right?
Oh, gotta go back to circulatory.
Because we've covered everything in there, you'll actually see similarities in this now.
Okay.
You know, your slides aren't moving.
Yeah, I'm moving them back.
Yeah, your slides are moving.
Right here. That's where I wanted to stop.
Go ahead, you can start that one.
So the circulatory system controls blood and lymph throughout the body. It actually can be stimulated or relaxed by massage, and also sometimes by, like if you take an Advil or something, it's a vasodilator. So if you have a headache, you know what it does, and caffeine does this too. It opens up your blood vessels so that the blood can flow through a little bit faster. And so if you ever read those package inserts, you know, and it says it's a vasodilator or a vasoconstrictor. If it's a dilator, it's opening your blood vessels up so you can get your blood flowing better. If it's a constrictor, it's stopping the blood flow to a certain area. So your circulatory system is divided into two subsystems, cardiovascular and lymph vascular. And I know that there's a test question somewhere that says which of the following or which is a subsystem of the cardiovascular system. And you'll have to pick one of those.
I think of it like this. The blood vascular is kind of like the 99 freeway, and the lymph is the frontage road. They're both going the same way, but they do two different things. So look at it that way. They still have, you need both of them.
Yes, you do. Has anyone ever donated blood before? I can't really see everybody, so if you did, chime in. Yeah,
Yes.
you have?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I donate blood all the time.
Oh, nice. Have you ever donated lymph?
What?
The lymph?
No, but I passed out once.
Have you ever donated plasma?
Oh no.
No. Okay, well, good for you for blood. I'm scared to death.
Did any plasma?
Well, they separate it.
They separate it, yeah, but yeah, you can donate it.
So the two interrelated systems are the cardiovascular or blood vascular, which is responsible for circulation of the blood. This includes your heart, the arteries, veins, and capillaries. Combines with the lymph system to maintain circulatory. I hope that's what that says.
Circulation.
It's circulation. Lymph vascular circulates lymph through the lymph glands, nodes, and vessels. It reaches parts of the body that are not reached by blood. That's a test question, right? Off the bat. Lymph reaches parts of the body not reached by blood.
If you ever cut yourself and you haven't bled, but you squeeze it and you get like this clear liquid that comes out, that's your lymph. Because it's just, it's reaching the part that's not reached by blood.
What's kind of neat is that when you go to the doctor and you're not feeling well, the first thing he wants to do is check right here. And if these are swollen, then the infection is somewhere in your head. Like, could be sinuses, could be something else, you know. Then they go for it under the armpits, and then they know it's respiratory. So depending on which area the lymph is swollen, they can basically determine the area where you're ill.
They even have a massage to stimulate. Is it
Yeah,
stimulate
it's called
or
manual
benefit?
lymphatic drainage.
Drainage. Okay, I was saying stimulate it or drain it. Yeah. And but you have to be really certified and know exactly what you're doing
Otherwise
to
you
try
can
to
hurt
do
somebody.
that, or you're going to make somebody sick. Yeah. Okay. So your heart, right? One fist. That's the size of your heart. It's a muscular organ. It's one of a kind. You only have one cardiac muscle called the heart. It contracts and relaxes as it moves blood through your body. So what does the American Heart Association says? That you should get 30 minutes of increased heart rate 3 times a week to be healthy. Okay. So you have 4 chambers in your heart. You have upper and lower, which are known, and you have them on the right and left side. So they're known as atriums and ventricles. And I always remembered that because the atrium was on top, first letter of the alphabet. Yeah, A's first.
And then
So,
it's on the
and
bottom.
then ventricles on the bottom. But you do have right and left sides. So it says that it beats 60 times per minute is your normal heart rate. So 60 to 100 beats per minute is your normal heart rate. I just looked at mine right now on my watch, and it says that it's beating 83. So
I didn't know you did that.
I guess
Let me
I'm
put that watch on.
I guess I'm normal, right? I have a normal heart rate. So your heart now, because it's so fragile, does have a protective covering. And that protective covering is a membrane known as the pericardium. And that it protects it, helps it, another layer of protection.
Those of you that do nails, remember para means around or surrounds. So that's where they came up with the pericardium.
So there's a picture of your heart. It's not very cute.
No.
So there's your pericardium in the blue. And then your right atrium, your right ventricle, your left ventricle, and your left atrium. And that's how your heart goes.
Your picture is frozen, or I can't see it on my screen at least.
What do you do? How
I don't
could she
know.
see it?
What are
share
you
the screen?
seeing right now? Yeah, we're sharing.
The nervous system.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Wow.
What happened?
What's everyone else seeing?
The nervous system.
Nervous system.
Okay, let me stop this here and go back to it.
Let's do this again.
Let's try one more time.
Like your slides have not moved since I started this info.
Okay, what do you see now?
Oh, I see the heart.
Okay.
You said everyone sees the heart, right?
Yeah.
All right, so there's your pericardium's the blue. The right atrium is, the right ventricle, left ventricle, and left atrium. So there's your picture of your heart and where things are located at. Remember, your heart is sitting inside your sternum. So if they go to do open heart surgery on you, they got to crack that sternum open. And I know this because my dad had open heart surgery a few years back. And after you have this particular surgery, you know, an open heart surgery done, you cannot lift more than 5 pounds. Okay. Do you have any idea what a gallon of milk weighs? A gallon of milk weighs 8 pounds.
Really? I did
Yeah.
not know that.
We found out all kinds of stuff that I was shocked a gallon of milk weighed 8 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, and my dad couldn't even lift that. I mean, he was weaker than like, you know, a newborn basically after he had his open heart surgery. Had to be like that for about 3 weeks to give it, you know, time to heal up, and then he could slowly go back in and start, you know, doing things. But yeah, I was surprised. So,
I never thought about
8 pounds for a gallon of milk, and now my screen is frozen.
that. Are you on the hotspot this time?
Yes. Okay,
Hello, wake up.
everything's froze. No, Cece's not froze.
See, you know what I had to do is I had to keep going back and forth. I had to stop the share and then go in order to see the students. It was driving me nuts.
It's not, okay. There we go.
Aha. Okay. The blood, it circulates through the body as a sticky, salty fluid. It brings nourishment and oxygen to the body parts. It carries toxins and waste products to the liver and kidneys to be eliminated. It's made up of red and white corpuscles, platelets, and plasma.
Also know that the red and white corpuscles are called RBCs.
Yeah.
Okay, they're called RBC for red
And
blood corpuscles and
WBC.
WBC for white
Oh, wait a minute. There's another name.
cells. There's another name for them though. RBC.
White leukocytes. That's it.
Leukocytes. There you
Because
go.
leuko means like white.
Erythrocytes and leukocytes. Okay, so red is erythrocyte, white is leukocytes.
There you go.
But there are RBCs and WBCs also.
So what do the white blood cells do?
White blood vessels are the blood vessels. No, blood
Blood.
cells. White blood cells are the army of your blood. So anytime you see pus, it's just your white blood cells.
Working like they're supposed
They're
to.
working. So what they're doing is whatever has invaded your body
An infection.
that, you know, is toxin, let's say, has invaded your body and it's trying to take over. Your white blood cells come to the aid of that and they build up around it and they increase to try to fight it and get rid of it. So it's like the army for your blood. Think of a pimple, right? You get some bacteria in your skin, you wake up and you've got a big fat pussy pimple. Well, that's supposed to be there because that white pus there is supposed to be killing that bacteria off so that pimple will go away.
So it doesn't turn your body toxic.
Yep, and that's exactly what it does. If you ever had a blood test and they say, oh, your white blood cell counts are up, usually means you have some type of an infection somewhere. But the thing that always fascinates me is how much blood an adult has,
Oh,
right? 8 to 10 pints. Okay, let's think of water bottle is a pint.
really?
16 ounces
I
is
was
a
getting a
pint,
quart of oil.
right? 16 ounces is a pint, right? 4 of those is a quart, but you only have like 2 quarts. So you only have like 2 quarts of oil in your body. It's not a lot of blood, I don't think. I always thought we had more.
It seems like when you eat parts like your head, which bleed forever, and your ears, I
Yeah,
would fill up enough in a cup at least.
that's a lot. Now, the, what is that called? Oh, there's the other name for it right there.
What, the leukocytes and the erythrocytes?
The platelets
Oh, okay.
that are responsible for clotting your blood. Okay, now there's some.
They're called thrombocytes.
They're called thrombocytes, yes, but there are some people who don't make those.
Mhm.
And those are called hemophiliacs.
Bleeders.
And it doesn't matter, any little cut is a potential for danger because if you
It'll
have
bleed to death.
if you have hemophilia,
Mhm.
hemophilia, yeah, and that's what it's called. You can bleed to death on any little certain cut. So that's dangerous. Go ahead.
All right, so our red blood cells, also known as erythrocytes or red corpuscles, they carry oxygen and contain the hemoglobin. This oxygen-poor blood is deep scarlet red, and when it gets oxygenated, it is bright red. If you look at the veins on your arms, okay, look at the color. Some of you might have a greenish color, some might have a bluish color, okay?
I have both.
So when you cut yourself and it gets exposed to the air, that's why it turns that nice, pretty red.
And if they take it straight out of the vein, if you have to go have a blood test or you donate, you see it dark.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the blood cells, blood platelets. There you go, your thrombocytes. Those are for clotting. And then plasma, that's the fluid part of your blood.
Yeah, it's 90% water.
Carries everything. You need to know that 90% water. I know that that's on the
That's a
test. That is on a test. So everyone knows what your blood tastes like, right? Okay, I had someone tell me one time that they never tasted their blood. I was like, really? You never had a bloody nose, you know, never had pulled out a tooth? I mean, come on. So, never cut yourself and stick your finger in your mouth real quick?
It's like, let me poke you.
Yeah.
All right, blood vessels.
Let's stop right there.
Oh my God, is it already over?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna stop right here for today. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen just so I can make sure that I have everyone on here. Alexis Payton, Charlene, Junior, Alexa, that's who I don't have. Cece, Donovan, Rudy, Valerie, Ali,
Homework.
okay.
Arteries.
Carly, Mercedes, okay, Carly, Junior, Lexi. Okay, I'm pretty sure I got everyone now.
So I have a quick question. I'm gonna take it back to the whole pimple and the pus filled in your pores thing. Is that the same thing for blackheads, but they're all dried up in your pores?
No,
Or
That's dried sebum in your pore.
it's dried oil for a blackhead. So there's not really any bacteria in there. It's
Unless
just
it's
like
a pustule.
your oil has
Either dried
just
up
kind
or-
of hardened up, and then like a piece of dirt has gotten the top of your.
It's because there's
follicle
skin
or your-
growing over the top of it and it cuts off the oxygen level, so it dries it up.
Yeah, but why it's black is because a piece of
Oh,
dirt or something's
No,
put the color on top
the
of
reason
it.
why it turns black is because when that sebum makes its way up to the top surface of your skin, you go outside and get exposed to the dirt, and that sebum's a little tacky. So that pollutants outside actually oxidize the top part of that sebum in your follicle and turns it black. So then if you try to remove it, you can get the whole impaction out. But some people like to use those Biore strips, which do absolutely nothing but remove that little black cap. But the minute you go back outside again, you're going to get it exposed and it's going to oxidize again. It's going to be black until you get the impaction out.
But with the pus pimple, that's a bacteria that's inside there. There's bacteria inside that pus. So if you ever have a pussy one and you pop it and you like wipe it off like that, and the next day you wake up and it's still there, or you have another one, that's because you've spread that bacteria. So,
okay.
yeah. So anytime
Thank you.
you're not supposed to pop your pussy pimples, but I know nobody's going to walk around with one on their face. We're all going to pop it. Just make sure that you use an antiseptic as soon as you pop that, and clean it really good so that the bacteria hopefully will die.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I know I'm not walking around. If I see one, I'm popping it.
Yeah, same here.
Just don't remove those blackheads unless you properly soften the skin. Otherwise, you're going to leave a hole.
And it could leave a scar if you dig too deep. It can do that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you guys have a good afternoon? We'll see you tomorrow. Except for the 2 o'clock ones. They have to stay on. So I still got Peyton and Alexa. You staying on with me? Yeah, okay. Oh, and Alexis too. Okay. You staying on, Charlene, for the 2 o'clock one? Are you staying on for the 2 o'clock theory? It was the same as this morning. Okay.